everyone, Dark Ramos here with the Volume Profile Nerd, and today I'll go over my trade review for Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. So today could have been a really good day. I had some really good levels drawn. We did have a gap up open this morning, so for me it was all about the gap up to see if we would fill the gap or if we would get a gap and go. So I'll quickly go over what I was looking at on both ES and NQ. So essentially, actually let me go to ES first. And so on ES, we had the CPI data, and we had a gap up open. So this is the regular trading hours high from yesterday. We got above that, and we opened on ES, we opened right up here. And I made the mistake today on NQ. Actually, I'll go over that in a second. But yeah, essentially it was a gap up. And so I was looking to see if sellers would fill the gap and if we would get acceptance back into yesterday's value, which on ES we did. ES was the relatively weaker sector because XLF and XLV did pull back on the morning, and NQ was the relatively stronger sector. So XLF was holding NQ back a bit, or ES back a bit. So yeah, I had some levels drawn from the CPI reaction, this range here, and it was very similar to the other CPI reaction, if I recall correctly, where we form a little balance on the way up, and then that little balance comes into play. It came more into play on NQ. On ES, it didn't quite come into play. We kind of broke through it, but we did reject off it on the 1 minute lower high to head lower. So that range kind of did come into play on both, just a little bit differently on ES and NQ. So yeah, for me, it was all about the gap up open. So my mistake this morning was I had my overnight high marked incorrectly. I think my overnight high was here rather than up here, because I forgot to adjust it right before opening bell. And that kind of played a factor into how I played today. So yeah, I'll go over the trades I took. Let me go over some of the daily levels. I did go over a lot of this in my morning rundown. But one thing I did adjust, I'm now using this range here from 8.3 to 8.11 rather than this larger range. And something I'm going to start doing more, just using more local ranges or ranges that we haven't gone through yet that are more recent. And so I added this one, and we rejected pretty much from the value area low today. We couldn't get above it. So just something I'm going to be doing more. If we haven't gotten through like a sideways range that's more recent, and this one's before it, I'm going to start using the more recent one, and just yeah, gonna start working with that. So yeah, that was what I was looking at. I was looking at, the value area low of this range and the value area high of this range here, and then the value area low of this range on NQ. And we did have some hourlies that came into play. We can see here that we held the value area high of this 331.45 range from back here. And yeah, we couldn't get acceptance below it, and then had a bounce from there. Initially, we held the value area high of this 228.52 range, so this range here. But then we broke below it. We couldn't get acceptance above this 822, 826.22 range from way back here. And yeah, and then afterwards we did break through that. So yeah, that was NQ. ES on the daily, I was looking at this range here from March 31st through April 13th. And we held the value area low, couldn't get acceptance below this range, and we bounced from there, and now we're holding the value area high here. So initially we couldn't find acceptance above it, but yeah, we held the value area high here, but now we're finding acceptance above it in the overnight session. And have some hourlies here. So we did hold the POC almost to the tick here of this 4546 range, which is from no, the 4546 is right here. So we held the POC of this range almost to the tick and bounced from there. So initially we couldn't get acceptance into this 417, 418 range from right over here, and pulled back from there and then held this POC and then bounced from there. We got convincingly through these two ranges. So yeah, that was pretty much the day. But yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was looking to see if we'd get a gap and go or if sellers would fill the gap. And then I was looking at yesterday's value. On ES, we did get back into it. And we even got under the overnight low, but then bounced convincingly. Couldn't find acceptance under the overnight low and bounced all the way to the open on ES. And on NQ, we got to the value area low of yesterday's value and then bounced from there back to the highs. So that would have been a good trade location. And I had some ranges here on the 1 minute that I used for the morning plays. And this 1 minute range was from Monday. It was just this little tiny balance here, and I'll zoom in a little bit. This little tiny balance from Monday. And I just liked it because it acted as resistance here, and acted as resistance. It basically just, it acted as resistance here. So I thought if buyers were going to defend on this big CPI reaction, I would think that it would be there. So just using it as kind of a reference. And yeah, that's what I was working with. And I was working with this range here from the CPI reaction. We went a little bit sideways, and we can see we held the POC right to the tick. That would have also been a good play. And I was thinking about making a play off of it, but I didn't. I think, I wasn't here for this morning action. And I think had I been here, I might have made a play here. But I didn't, so that's fine. And then I got the play after. So today was really interesting with how my morning went, and my C game today was very on point. And by my C game, I mean like some days you'll have a really good day, but kind of my teacher, someone that I listen to a lot, and he helps me a lot. He's taught me volume profile, and I consider him my teacher. He says like your C game is probably the most important, because on your bad days, your C game will save you. And my C game is just not over trading, not taking a trade when I said I wasn't going to, and not trading after I've hit close to a max loss or anything like that. So my C game was 100% today, and I really liked it. So to me, that was like a win, because I did take a few losses, but I didn't trade after that. And I was like, sometimes you don't win every day, and that's okay. And being okay with that, I think, is important. But anyways, I just felt like my C game was on point. But I'll go into my trades. So I wasn't here for this big move down. We did get a bounce, and I had my overnight high drawn incorrectly. It was kind of like down here or something, but I'll get into that in a second. It was like down here, my overnight high, and it was actually supposed to be up here, which I'll share kind of how that could have come into play with my decision making later in the day. Okay, so essentially I'm playing off that 1 minute range from Monday that acted as resistance, and now I'm thinking it should act as support if we get above it, which we did. And once we pulled back, I made an entry here at the value area high, got risk free quickly. We did bounce a bit higher, and I was using minis for this, and man, I really like minis. Like, the profit is really nice. Like up here, I was in pretty nice profit, but I was thinking it could be a gap and go day, because we couldn't fill the gap. We got close to the regular trading hours high and couldn't fill the gap. And then, so I did get risk free, because I get risk free 5 points in, got risk free here, and then my stop was 5 points away, and got stopped out here for a risk free trade, just paid for commissions. And I like this trade because this range is almost about 5 points, which is, when I'm playing with the minis, I like 5 points risk because I'm willing to put on that risk with the minis. So this range, I thought if we even held the POC, I'd still be good. But we held the value area high, bounced, I got risk free, and then got stopped out here. So my next trade, because I thought this range could still be in play, and this is for me where I could show a little bit more patience because we did pull back under the range. And I told myself, if we get back above, I'm going to look for the buy off of the value area high here. So I entered here and then just got quickly stopped out. And I was using minis on this because this was a break-even trade. So I tried the minis again and just got stopped out. So I lost 10 points on the minis, which is fine. That's kind of like my max risk. And after that, I told myself if I'm going to trade, I'm going to use micros. So if I take a full loss on the minis, then I don't trade the minis anymore. And then I just make like one attempt with the micros. So I was just watching this price action. And at the time, I had the overnight low here. And I was like, oh, we're not getting to the overnight low, which did play a factor into this trade. But I was watching this range. We were rejecting from the POC. Couldn't quite get above. And again, I told myself, if we break with no follow through, get back above the POC, I'm going to make an entry if we head to the value area high here. Couldn't find acceptance below, rejected here, rejected from the POC, bear break, no follow through below the range, got a bull break, held the POC, and I entered here close to the value area high and got the move quickly, got risk free very quickly. Sold. So I have 4 contracts here for the minis. So sold half here to get risk free. Sold 2 contracts here and sold 1 more contract here at the open in case we didn't find acceptance above the open. And after that, it was just bulls. It was just bulls on the morning. And here's another play off the open. Would have been a really nice play. And there was a few trades that I thought of taking or like adding to my position, which I'm not quite there yet of adding to my position, but looking at some of these plays is kind of like, oh, I could, if I, given that it could be a gap and go day, and I'm probably not the only one who thinks it's a gap and go day, I could consider adding to the position here at the open. Didn't, and I just had 1 contract. And my target at the time, it was the POC of, 14. Yeah, it was the POC of this range here that I had up at the time, and it was 13,475, and my target was 13,460, and it was just a bit too aggressive. And because I thought it was going to be a bull trend day, I thought of just holding. I didn't cut the position. I thought it could be a bull trend day, and I would have got close to risk to break even on the micros from my minis play. I was like $20 off from break even up here, and I could have just taken that win and then regrouped, like taking the win here on the micro, and I would have been close to break even on the day. But I told myself, it could be a trend day. Do not sell. Just wait to see if we get to target. And so, we oscillated sideways here, had another sideways range. Then we broke down, and I thought it was a liquidation break, but the liquidation break looks like it was here. And again, because I didn't have my overnight high marked correctly, I didn't realize that we rejected initially from the overnight high already. And that played a factor. Like, I just thought we were going to march up. And so sideways range here, sideways range here. I sat through all this because my stop was, like right here. And I had a good trade location. So I said, I'm either going to let this play out to target or I'm going to stop out. So I sat through this, and then we did march our way up. And I didn't realize, again, that the overnight low was here, but I was watching the value area low of this little range. And I thought maybe I could cut it there, but I just thought to myself, bulls are marching up again after that pullback. Maybe we keep going up. So had I had a different mindset and not thought this was just a liquidation break, and thinking and this is something I talked to Lamont about. Like, he mentioned that this was the liquidation break. This is kind of a red flag with it happening a second time, and just something I'm gonna take with me from today, just a learning lesson. But this would have been a beautiful short right off the value area low of this range. You know, I can draw it up and something like this, and we couldn't get above the POC. That would have been a really nice short, and then we rolled over after that. So I could have cut it here at like 13,410. That could have been a good target to cut it. The other thing I could have done is move my stop up under the low here, because if we break that, I'd be wrong, and I wouldn't gotten the full profit with selling up here, but this would have been like a red flag if we break that. So I could have exited here at 13,410, or I could have exited here again at 13,410. Multiple chances to kind of manage that trade a bit better, which I didn't. And so it was kind of like almost a max loss day. I did get a little bit of profit here on 3 contracts, but relative to what it could have been, I felt like I could have managed the trade better. And even after we get this move up, I could have set my stop under here, because if we break that, then sellers are definitely proving more. After we get back up, I could have set my stop under here, because if we break that, then I want to be out of the trade, and I could have gotten a few more points there. So if my stop was down here, yeah, I could have gotten away with like 40 points by stopping out here, or 40 extra points. But here I would have gotten like 40. Yeah, it would have been another maybe 25 points. Overall, I think I gave back quite a few points on this move down. So 410, or actually from up here, 30 to 45. Yeah, it was about 80 points. Had I sold here, yeah, it would have been nice, but had to sit through all this and watched it, and then I just got stopped out here, and yeah, and then afterwards, I went to a Q&A, and Lamont mentioned that the overnight high was here, and yeah, so just need to be a bit sharper with my levels, but I did get stopped out here, and after that I had other things to attend to. I didn't watch the market after that, but it was just nice to see how levels played out today on NQ. We held this POC, so we got below this range here. Then we got back above, held the POC, couldn't find acceptance back into the range, went sideways under this morning balance from Monday, got back above, and I was watching this actually. Yeah, I was watching this here because, let me see the hourly. Or it might have been a bit later. Yeah, okay, so anywho, but I was watching it thinking that we could reject, like if we did something like this, I think I would have been interested in the sell, but we held the value area high here and then just marched up quite a bit after that. Let me see, I think, did we get to a new high? Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, we did get, no, it was later in the day actually. So okay, we got to the value area high, bounced around that Monday range, then got below it. This was a nice short here. We got to the value area low, couldn't find acceptance back into yesterday's value, bounced, held the value area high, marched back up. And I think it was here that I was looking to see if we would do something like this and not get above the open, because at this point buyers didn't tag the open, so I thought we could do something like this. And at that point we were approaching this value area high from 822, 826. So I thought if we do something like that, then I thought that would be a good short. But we held the POC of that balance, that little balance from Monday, and just marched up pretty much for quite a bit to a new high of day actually, which was quite impressive. So yeah, from here, 349 to up here, yeah, almost 100 points. This would have been a nice play off the open or off the POC would have been a nice play. But yeah, and then kind of finished off the day like that. So yeah, these two ranges I think will be important for tomorrow. But yeah, that was my trading day. A lot of good levels to play off of today. But after I took that kind of max loss and didn't get back to break even by selling kind of up here or setting my stop here and then kind of watching all of this and getting stopped out, I said just regroup, come back again tomorrow, and yeah, just yeah, that's where my C game was on point. So I consider today a win because I really like my C game, and it was just like, okay, you took a max loss, you had some good learning lessons where you could have moved your stop, and because if sellers get through this little range, then I'm probably wrong, and I could have just taken the profit that I had at the moment, which at the time would have been 50 to 10, would have been 60 points on one contract, which is great. And I could have exited my position here again at the same level as if I would have had my stop here, because we did get back to that level, but didn't, and then just watched this here. So a few things, yeah, I could have moved my stop up. I could be sharper with my levels, making sure that I have my levels correct. I think that's very important. So yeah, just gonna take the learning lessons from today. Gonna come back tomorrow with with my morning prep. That's another point in favor. I do like my morning prep lately. Like I feel like aside from like not marking the overnight high correctly, like I'm gonna pay extra attention to that. But yeah, overall, there were some good things that I did today, and it was just yeah, could have moved my stop up or exited once we got back to a specific level. And having the overnight high marked correctly, I think could have helped me be more aware of that. So yeah, gonna take the learning lessons from today and come back tomorrow. Really just enjoying trading and enjoying working on my C game and rounding that out for myself so that every day I can feel good regardless of the outcome. And I think that's very important. But also sharpening my TA skills with drawing my levels and morning preparation and just having good context for the day. All right, so that is my trading day for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next trade review. Thank you.